That's a really hard question, you know. I don't know if I know the answer to that.
Hi, my name's Matthew. I first attended the stage in 1997. Here it is, almost 10 years later, and I'm finally graduating. Why did it take me so long? In my senior year in high school, my guidance counselor told me that because I like drawing computers, I should enter the graphic design program. So I came here to Sage and found out very quickly that graphic design is a lot more than just drawing and art and pictures. Graphic design and art are very much not the same thing. In this short video, you'll see 4 different interviews with 4 professors from the Sage Graphic Design program. And they'll talk about 3 different things. They'll talk about why go to Sage, what is graphic design, and what the two have to do with each other. So without any further ado, here's my short interviews by design.
When you went to college, you decided that communications, multimedia, graphic design was going to be the direction you were going to head.
No.
No?
Actually, no. I had no idea. No, I went to college being a math major.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a math and science guy.
My high school guidance counselor thought I should go to school for art, which I did. And I studied fine arts at SUNY Oswego.
I love architecture, but I chose to go into fine art and sculpture. And I ended up designing cities of the future. My architecture friends were designing office buildings for insurance companies, you know, little bathrooms and hallways and stuff, which is great. And I was designing these exotic buildings of the year 3000, you know, for major motion pictures like Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone or something. And I was an art director and I'm designing these whole new worlds, and it was way more fun.
I didn't go to college to be an illustrator or designer. I went to college and I studied fine arts. And, you know, I sort of had this idea, it was never really clear in my head, but I had this idea that I would somehow come out of college and I would open up the want ads, and there'd be this ad, you know, like oil painter wanted, you know, $30,000 a year plus benefits, you know, and I would come and show my portfolio, and I don't know who this, like, benefactor was going to be who hired me to do that, but, and of course that doesn't exist, you know, there's nothing even remotely like that, there's nothing, it just doesn't happen. You know, graphic designers wear a lot of hats. You know, you have your business manager hat. You have to be able to run a business as a freelancer. And that you know, that means you have to be able to be organized enough to invoice your clients, right? To keep track of things for your taxes, to do basic things like that. You have to be a promoter, right? You have to, if you're going to freelance, you have to be out there networking and promoting your work and letting people know what you do.
Now this isn't art, it's design, you know, and it comes from technological advances for the benefit of human beings, you know, and I think there's a lot of people sort of in the corners of the world doing that, making pumps to help little farmers in Africa and making them cheap so that, you know, it's kind of like a bicycle, you know, you get on it and it pumps water, and now they've multiplied the amount of produce that they make by 10, you know, and their standard of living comes up. These are heroes to me, you know. This is design.
It does have the power to be something instructive, persuasive, more important than just something esoteric like a pretty page.
Being a good graphic designer is first and foremost about a way of thinking and a way of seeing, and then the tools that you use to realize that are really secondary. They could be a computer, they could be pen and ink, they could be a letterpress, they could be whatever it is. But a good graphic designer will thrive in all those areas because the core part, the problem-solving part, is solid.
So there's a difference between design and fine art, and that's it. And it's huge. So, and I don't want to say one is the same, because they're not.
Yeah.
You can't be an artist and designer at the same time. It just doesn't work.
There's a lot of things I like about Sage. Sage is not perfect by any means. I'll be the first to admit that, but there's a lot that's really, really good here. And one thing is that we get a lot of freedom to develop and teach the classes the way we want. And I think that's so valuable, because what it means is that we can teach to our strengths, so we can teach the things that we're passionate about and excited about, which is really important. And it also means that we can shift and adjust the class based on the makeup of the class that semester. So digital animation next year could conceivably be quite a bit different than it was the previous year, depending on the makeup of the students and what their background is and where their interests are and things like that.
I like the faculty. I think they're very committed, and to the last one, really good people with good hearts, and they're putting them in the service of great minds too, and creative people, as well as academics in other areas. And the students, I think the students come here with they're bright, creative, ambitious.
The great part of this school is that it really is open, or at least my classes, and it sounds like Jean's and Matt's as well, are really open to letting students explore. And that's the key. You know, I give a project, and sure, I want you to come up with a concept that fits the structure of the project, but your conceptual range is open as far as you can push it. You know? And that's really what it's about.
Being a smaller school, I think, can make us more nimble in terms of the way that we adapt to things. I think it can allow us to have a different kind of contact with our students. You know, I know the names and faces. I think I could probably name just about everybody in the graphic design program here. Right? Even students I haven't had for classes. I know who they are. And the students I have had for classes, I feel like I know a lot of them pretty well.
We're a very small school, so if we come up with an idea for a new course, we're able to get that in and through in a very short amount of time. Mount the course, offer it to the students, and see if things are working.
It's one of the nicest art buildings I've ever seen, and as far as facilities, for a small school, it's amazing. And the gallery there is beautiful, beautiful.
We were actually one of the first schools to have a computer graphics program. We and Pratt bought the same computer graphics system in 1983, which is incredible. It's really a year before the Mac came into being. And it was a proprietary system, and the company went out of business the next year, so both Pratt and us were kind of hanging out there. But the fact that we had it since 1983 is significant. So we've understood the role of computers and been able to adapt and bring it into the curriculum right from the very start.
Being in this environment where you're with all these other people who are working on the projects with you is an opportunity that you don't get again. You know, maybe you'll be lucky enough to work in a really good creative agency or ad agency where there's maybe 2 or 3 other designers there who you can bounce things off. But to have 15, 20 other students who are all working on the same stuff, who you can share ideas with and collaborate and critique, it's a great opportunity. And
it's really out of fashion at most design schools to teach the software. It's presumed that because, especially your generation, grew up with computers, that we don't need to spend time teaching Photoshop or teaching Illustrator because A, they already know it, B, we don't want to waste our teaching time teaching them something that, you know, really they could learn from a tutorial or a book. We differ with that because we think we want control over what you know, and we feel those are skills that are as fundamental as drawing. Knowing that software is going to enable you to think creatively about how you can use it. It's like knowing any tool. It's like learning to cook. You know, knowing the equipment that you need to use to operate effectively only aids you in your eventual creativity.
The fact that we're close to New York City, I think for the fine art and also for what you do, graphics and our interior design program, is an excellent thing. We're near enough where you can get there and back in one day. And there's a huge amount of opportunity and learning from that connection that's available.
And I love this building.
It's a cool building, isn't
it's
it?
a clubhouse. I mean, you can teach design anywhere, but we have our own building, and it's got incredible wood and rooms that are these great shapes, and the fact that it was an old orphanage, the third floor with these angled ceilings and the little cubbies. I mean, yeah, so much personality. I love it.
I think that's the measure of any organization, any sort of activity, is what are the outcomes. And our outcomes are our students, our alumni, who are working out there very successfully in the field and thankful for their experience at Sage. Thankful for the individual attention they got from their professors, thankful for the ability to work in a small setting so that they got to know their instructors personally. We knew their strengths, we knew their weaknesses, we called them on it. We didn't let people fall through the cracks. We nurtured people through this institution, and they went on to do great things. And of that I'm most proud. I think that's what Sage has always done best, is really help individuals get where they want to be.
Wow, there's not one answer to everything. And when I understood that just kind of as a universal thought, really, it helped so much in understanding how graphic design and communicating is not really about finding a solution, but it's really just about kind of exploring and finding what would be the best kind of solution.
You know, I think you can make a very good living as a graphic designer, but I don't think that's the reason to go into the field. I don't think anybody should go into graphic design because they want to get rich. You should go into it because it's what you really enjoy doing. And that probably applies to any field, but there's more to being a graphic designer than just making images.
I think that there's just a huge amount of directions to go into if you're a graphic designer and in the media. It's making a huge impact on our culture and world culture.
There are plenty of opportunities that you could find in any major city, and some of them there are more opportunities available and some there are less, but I felt with graphic design it was the kind of thing where, wow, there are so many different ways you could apply it in a big corporation, in a small corporation, as an independent contractor, running your own studio, doing freelance gigs.
You could have a job where you could have complete creative control, but a budget of $100, right? Make that work. Find a way to do something that you're going to be able to be satisfied with, that's going to be worth your time for $100. Yeah, good luck, right? Or you may have this great paying job with a client who's, how can I put this delicately, might be a little narrow-minded about certain things and might say, you know, I don't really know what I want, but I know it when I see it. You know, and then you go through 50 revisions or 100 revisions of it. Or maybe they have those very specific and boundaries about, maybe you're tied to a certain color choice, or you're tied to a certain typeface, or you're tied to, it can vary from job to job. Maybe it's the way that the thing needs to be used that's going to make a change.
You can't bring the things that you use to, the parameters in fine art into your career, because that's a mistake. That's imposing your very individual set of concepts onto someone else's set of concepts, and it's always going to be a clash. You have to lend yourself to them because they're paying you, and they're paying for your skill and what you know, and then your creativity works within the parameters that they give to you.
So Sage brings people here.
So it seems.
If you're going to, where was I going with this? Lots of hats. Oh, I'm sorry. Just this image of hats.
This school, what the beautiful part about it is that, God, that sounded tired. This school is beautiful. Yeah.
There are a lot of things to graphic design besides just making images. And I think that's it. I'm sorry, I'm just trailing off. I think I lost my momentum there.
That's all right.
You'll fix all this in post-production, right? Make what I say sound really intelligent and coherent.
A couple of years ago at the portfolio day that we have on the Sage campus in the fall, a professor from Skidmore came up to me and said, "You guys are the best kept secret in the Capital District." And I thought, what a terrible thing to say. So I hadn't thought about it that way until she said that to me.
You know, I was talking to a woman the other day, a friend of mine, her daughter's taking Norwegian, right? We're never going to teach Norwegian at Sage. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Sort of wrap this up. We got
3:10. Oh,
Yeah.
I got a class that started 10 minutes ago.
Oh,
I better go tell them I'm here.
okay. Take your
I'll
time.
be right back.
Sure.